Hi again. My name is Robert Thomas DeVincentis, and I am the author of the Book of Kings. And I was going to continue my dissertation from the book on the review that there's no life in outer space, and that science is way off course, and we don't have the understanding of outer space. All this is noted in my book. I don't know if you could see that or not, the Book of Kings. And the book covers four subjects: science, nature, man, and God. Now, I said last time that there was no life in outer space. And that's true, there isn't any. God spent the majority of his time creating the things here on earth. He only spent one day making the sun and the moon. And I already said that those were created after the earth. So I said the earth is the oldest object. Did you know that science is now disclaiming their Big Bang Theory? I wrote about this over 30 years ago, and that there's no such thing as a Big Bang Theory. What happened is that science itself is a gift from God concerning his miraculous creation. It's only limited. It doesn't have all the knowledge. Science doesn't have that. And I explained further that time and space and the number of stars and the galaxies and these things, there are limits to them. They're finite, but they're not infinite. But yet man doesn't have the capability, or God hasn't given him the understanding of these things. They're beyond the human comprehension. So that in itself alone should point that science is not your God. And now we're going to talk further today on why there's nothing out there. I wrote about Mars, that it was deader than a doornail. They're not going to find anything there. I don't care, maybe mistakenly they might find some bacteria that somebody left there or something from our planet. But other than that, you're not going to find anything. All the elements in the world, now listen to me, because you're not going to get this anywhere else. All the elements in the world, if you put them in a big shaker, can't make one living thing. This whole idea that all of a sudden some comet brought water here and life and it came about in billions of years. Sorry, that's not true. You think you want to make something live? Take all the elements in the world, put them in a shaker, you're not going to make one living thing. You can alter life. Life is sustained by water in many, many cases, and it reproduces itself. So all the scientific hoopla that went awry basically back in the Scopes trial about evolution, which is totally far from what you really need to know in science, and confuses everything about the nature of man and other things. So what is it then? For thousands of years, there was a people that was chosen by God, and they were the Jews. And Moses wrote the book of Genesis. He actually beheld the face of God, talked face to face with him. No other man had done that until now. We see Christ, who said, "Who has seen me has seen the Father." But back in the day, and Christ reconfirms everything. By the way, he's the Word of God. You know what that means, Word of God? He was in the world, and the world was made by him, but the world knew him not. That's the guy right there, Jesus Christ. So what about that? Moses spoke with God, and he wrote the book of Genesis, and he gave him the details about creation. That was the formula and the way people believed for thousands of years. It wasn't only until, recently, like within the last couple hundred years, that all of a sudden science started claiming that they knew more than what Moses did when he talked to God face to face. and wrote these books. So all of a sudden now, that is never going to go away. That's right. That book of Genesis will be here. It says, heaven and earth will pass away, but the words of God will not. They're stronger than the universe. God gave us the blueprint of how we're supposed to perceive everything. And science makes science their God. That's right. The people that are teachers and mathematical geniuses, which they are, they know everything was all handed down to them. But then all of a sudden they keep changing everything. Oh, there's no Big Bang Theory now. Yeah, well, where does somebody like me fit into this picture? I don't, because I don't have the degrees. I don't really care about that. It's absolutely erroneous how man has departed from God and his word. And that's a frightening thing. Anybody out there want to refute what I'm saying? That you could make something out of nothing? Yes, God is the one that did that. Everything you see was made out of nothing. We're going to talk about light for 1 minute again, or the things that God created. The first thing he said, let there be light. Do you honestly believe that it took billions of years for light to get to the surface of the earth? That is erroneous. When God turned on the lights of heaven, it was instantaneous by command. Science doesn't even know all the ins and outs about light. They got a telescope, they got probes out there and everything else, and they want to take your mind away from God. Light was instantaneous. Now they're saying, oh, yeah, we could see new stars being created. No, you can't. If you're saying they're being created, what are billions of years old? Because it would take light years for a light to hit your eye. So it doesn't make sense. And then if you look at, there was some other scientific information that said that the heat from all the solar systems and all of the galaxies, they're basically uniform. That means they were created at the same time. That's what that means. God doesn't need a billion years to make something. You think you're going to add something to God? Actually, God is going to judge the world in a day. Everything that was ever created, walked around here, every man, person is going to give an account for their life. Okay, so if that doesn't scare you, you think you're going to escape God by, some time warp or something? By saying, oh, you know what? I will tell you right now. And again, these are things you're not going to hear from anybody else. Time works as one unit. That includes the heavens and the earth. There's no difference in time on another planet than it is here on Earth, because the earth is the central piece of time. It's the centerpiece. Everything evolves around the Word of God. From the beginning to the end that's written in that Bible is going to happen here on Earth. Not out there, but here on Earth. It may have some consequence of something coming from there, but all the consequences are here on Earth. So when you look at the expanse of God's creation in the heavens, time is the same because it moves as one unit. I don't care how fast you go in outer space. You arrive somewhere else or here or whatever. It doesn't matter. Point A to point B. It's the same. I am in direct conflict and contradiction to what you're going to find in the sciences that are being taught today, not only here in the United States, but all over the whole world over the last 150 years. This is a travesty because they've taken God out of the picture. And as I said, somewhere down the road, they're going to say, oh, there's no life there. Now all of a sudden they're trying to say, oh, maybe there's life on Pluto, which is even further away than Mercury. Or, this goes on and on. And because you got a big telescope and because you got a big imagination, it's all good. But when you start saying that there is no God, or you can't even mention God, then you're in trouble. You're not teaching correct history. You're really not. And even though I don't have degrees and all this stuff, I'm telling you as I'm sitting here right now, or standing here, on those 4 subjects, science, nature, man, and God, I am the historian of historical origins. There's nobody like me on the planet. If you think you want to engage me in a conversation on any one of those 4 subjects and their origins, you're going to be deeply disappointed because you won't be able to explain your explanation after I get through. That's how good I am. So what does that mean? I'm cocky. I don't have any humility. Maybe to some degree that's true. I'm a human being. But what I'm saying is I'm tired of all the information flow of people. Oh, AI, no, AI can't come to the conclusions that I'm giving you. It can never come to those conclusions because they're based on thousands of scriptures. That's right. When Thomas Aquinas wrote the Summa Theologica, it's an interesting book. That guy's way beyond me in the realm of knowledge and the things about God. But there are certain things we all come together as one unit. I said I'm not a theologian, but I have to know what a theologian thinks. If I'm going to tell you about God, I better know what I'm talking about. That's true. So at any rate, these are things that I wanted to discuss tonight. And I hope that you enjoy these little talks because, again, you're not going to find anybody. And we come down to what God is and the revelation of God and how it came about over thousands of years. It didn't happen overnight. The revelation of God starts at the beginning of creation, Adam and Eve, all the way down to Noah, the flood, to the patriarchs, of Abraham and all his descendants, down to whatever. It follows the main course of God's chosen people, the Jews, the Israelites, and that. So that's what it's based on. And then the revelation of God in the final is the revelation of Jesus Christ, the Son of God. And so God set up his theological design for man's understanding of God, where the whole world was in unbelief, basically. It doesn't matter who you are, you were in unbelief. If you believe in Jesus Christ, well, then you were called by God. But there are a lot of people that have lived and died that hadn't known Christ. And, for whatever reason, God in his perfect wisdom had decided that basically no one's going to boast about anything. You're going to boast against the Jews? No, they're the natural branches. And at some point in time, they're again, they're in their infancy, believe it or not, coming about to have the knowledge of Christ. Because it was so ingrained in their core beliefs that there was a rejection of Christ unless they were directly related in some kind of miracles and things that were here. And it was spoken of by the prophets that they would hear and see and not understand. So in other words, God is just fulfilling what he wants to do in the face of who we think we are as far as God. However, the greatest knowledge that exists in faith and understanding of God exists in the Roman Catholic Church, the Pope, and all these. You're going to say, oh, no, no, you don't. You've taken that Bible, you've done all kinds of things, you went this way and that way, and you're good people. You believe in Christ, but you don't have the answers. And I don't have them all either. So what I'm saying to you is that when it comes to science, nature, man, and God, you got a wild dog by the ear here. You're liable to get bit because there's a lot of things that you're going to learn. And I hope and pray that your understanding will bring about the natural, peaceful thing that I wanted to bring to you. That you have peace and understanding through the things that God had created for you. Thank you, and have a blessed evening.